Welcome everybody, this is How to English. Teach and learn with Gav and Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions stated are personal and references will be given when necessary.
It's go time.
It's time to begin episode 4 of Gav and Em's How to English pod. Are you ready?
I'm ready. How are you?
I'm very well. And you?
Such a standard thing, isn't it? Yes, I'm fine, thanks. I think I need to change that up a little bit in my lessons now. I think I'm getting too many. I'm fine, thank you. How are you? So I need to start with, how's it going? What you been up to? What's new? How's life?
Those are all really good suggestions, Em. I've noticed that I say to my students, how you doing? And they say, thanks.
Yeah, it's a lesson in itself.
I think they shouldn't say thanks, although it is nice to be thanked for asking how somebody is. But really, I just mean hello.
I know, it gets complicated because things like, what's up? All right? Those are just responded by, what's up? All right? But then how do students know if it's a question, if it's just a hello, like how you doing? The answer is...
I'm good, how you doing?
Yeah, fine, thanks. So it's a bit of a greeting minefield out there.
Well, it's certainly a lesson in itself, Em, but let's move forward. For today's episode, we have so many different fun topics to discuss, I am sure.
You can kick off.
Do you want me to open my goodie bag of what happened this week?
Yes.
I have a question for you, Em, and the followers. I hope they're all following, Em.
Well, they are if they're here. If they're not, then they're not, I guess. That's just how it is.
Unless they've wandered off to flip burgers or...
What?
Unless they've wandered off to make themselves a cup of tea or answer the door to the postie.
Well, then they wouldn't know, would they?
They're going to miss this part of the show. Because, Em, my question is, what do all of these have in common? A griddle... fatigue, to be under stress, a patent, an organism, bonbons, and well, I could carry on actually. There's quite a long list there.
They're foreign words. I mean, bonbon, that was my only link to that. But, what else? Is it something clever like the combination of letters or something?
It isn't. It's just what came up in my lesson the other day.
Ah, nice.
And it's a nice reminder. If you just jot down some of these words and then reflect on what happened in the lesson and all the topics that you covered, all the directions your conversation went, it's really interesting.
Go back over those again.
A griddle.
Weirdly, that came up in my lesson last week too. Griddle. Something between a pan and a grill.
Well, it was for waffle making.
Nice.
And I thought griddle rather than pan or plate.
Hot plate.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, what, the other ones?
Fatigue.
Fatigue. Just as in, you're looking tired, let's use a different word.
And could be a pronunciation problem for the student.
Yeah, but also relates to metal, wear, and general fixings.
Very
can
good.
Suffer fatigue. Good word.
To be under stress.
Right, yeah.
Fits very well. A patent. Again, that was a pronunciation issue.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's where you register a device or some kind of invention.
But it can be patent. I think it's okay.
Yeah, but not a patent.
Right, that's true, yes.
Organism versus body.
I've heard that a lot. My organism isn't feeling good.
I was very surprised when I heard it.
Like that's something you keep in a box, maybe.
It sounds very technical.
Take it out, give it some food, put it back in the box. That's not your organism, is it?
No.
Yeah.
You don't put your body in a box. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, it sounds like something separate from your body, doesn't it, when students say my organism?
Oh.
It's something I take out for a walk every day or something.
Nice. But to really get to the point, Em, I want you just to clarify the difference between sweets, a sweet, like a dessert, pastry, bonbon, candies.
Oof. Where should we start? Well, candy's American.
Mm-hmm.
Sweets is British for candies.
Mm-hmm.
A sweet could be a single Haribo or something, but then you said it's used as a dessert, and I think that's a very British thing to say, a pudding or a sweet.
Very good.
And bonbons are specific kinds of sweets or candies.
I imagine those round ones. I think we get them in Britain.
Yeah, usually got powdered sugar on the outside and they're chewy in the middle. What was the other one?
A pastry.
A pastry. Well, that's in a different classification. I'd say that's a baked item. You're going to find that in a coffee shop. You're going to have that with coffee, and it's going to be something like a croissant or...
Or you pick it up from a bakery.
Exactly.
Another minefield.
Yeah. It's those little things, isn't it? When my student was telling me the other day about having to overtake some duties for his colleague, and you just have to say, no, hang on a minute, stop, not overtake. That's what you do on the motorway or the highway in a car. But you mean take over. It's just that tiny little tweak, isn't it?
Exactly. I heard that my student put out their telephone from their pocket.
Yeah.
Sounds awfully dangerous if it catches fire. But I think they've been...
Well, it wouldn't have been on fire if they put it out.
Prior to putting it out, I guess it was on fire, and therefore their trousers may also have been on fire.
Sure.
In any case, it sounds awfully dangerous to use the wrong words, Em.
These are the things we have to do every day, continuously, on repeat, because they don't seem to remember them. That's the other problem.
No, they don't.
I had a bit of a shock this week, Gav.
Did you?
My student told me that he'd downloaded an app, and it was a learning app for languages.
Very good student.
New one. We're not going to endorse or promote, are we? But the point was that this app had a teacher, virtual teacher, an AI teacher. Can you guess what that teacher's name is?
Is it Gav?
No, it's Em. So this teacher is called Me, and I thought the student had actually picked the name because that's who his teacher is in real life. But no, it turned out that is just the name of the teacher.
That is very cool. Are they also a podcaster?
I don't know. I haven't even started looking into it, but they don't look like me, so that was reassuring. I was a little bit worried at one point. I've been cloned.
So it's a kind of avatar on the app that you can actually look at.
Yeah, it's actually set up like a conversation on the phone, so you can see it happening in real time and you can speak into it. I've used these apps in the past a few years ago, and it was just a typing thing, like an instant messenger sort of chat, which was impressive at the time. But now you can press the record button and it will dictate exactly what you say in the conversation. And then you can go to look at feedback and it tells you all your errors and your mistakes. So I tested it by saying, I love nature because it's fantastic.
Oh,
and
fantastic is not a word as far as I'm aware.
You sound just like the app. It said, fantastic is not a word. You mean fantastic. And it really picked up a lot of things. It was very good. And I think for students, it's possibly the future. I don't know. But I was a bit worried, Gav. And I thought, does this worry you? Does this worry you about your job security in the future?
Well, if I was called M, I might be concerned. But as they haven't invented one called Gav, I might be all right.
You reckon? It's all about the name then. Okay.
I wonder how accurate it is, though, Em.
It's not bad. I feel like it missed a few things. The main thing was that it didn't follow my conversation in a very logical way. It was picking up things from a grammatical sense. But if I went off topic or said something completely unrelated, it seemed to accept it, which wouldn't necessarily happen in a real life conversation. I think the other person would be saying, what are you talking about that for? That's got nothing to do with the question.
Okay.
So I think it's moving fast. I think that for me was the eye-opener, just how fast this technology is going now. But yeah, my students seem to be on the we still need a real teacher side of the fence.
So basically you have conversations with this thing on any topic and it just will ask you questions or prompt you or...
Yeah.
What is it exactly, Em?
It comes up with its own questions and you then respond and it dictates your answer.
Can we just do a little demo? Give me an example and I'll see if I think it's any good.
This virtual M says things like, if you could have any skill that you could have instantly, what skill would you have?
I would have the skill of running super fast.
That's amazing. Why would you like to do that?
Thanks, Em. If I could run super fast, then I could catch up with trains.
Where would you go if you could run super fast?
I would run around the world and back again.
And which country would you go to first? So it goes on
It
like
does.
that.
That's really clever. Does it ever stop, or would it just...
I haven't tried to do it for infinity, so I don't know the answer to that question. But I'm guessing no, it will just keep going.
Okay, that's not like the M I know. You just stopped, didn't you?
I do stop. Because you need to eat and breathe and stuff.
AIs don't need to eat and breathe. That's why they're better than us, M.
Yeah. Which comes back full circle to my initial fear of, is the world just going to be a load of robots?
And what did your students say?
They are definitely more on the we still need real people to talk to side of the fence, reassuringly. I'm not sure, they just want to make me feel better. One of them was actually downloading the app in the lesson, and I said, can you just wait and at least wait until after the lesson and then you can talk to the virtual M, but for now, talk to this one because I'm here. That was quite funny.
Well, it's a compliment if they come back next week and they don't choose the virtual M over the real M.
That's right. I think somebody else said something like, well, you could just have a one-to-one lesson with a real teacher maybe once a month. And I thought, oh no. That's not good.
Another topic for this week was illness. I had a lot of ill students, a lot of absenteeism.
And how does that... sound like the app now. Gav, how does that impact you?
That impacts me by having to have lots of one-to-ones and possibly late cancellations.
Right. So one-to-ones that you were initially planning to be group lessons can be a little bit challenging, I suppose.
And consistency's not great. So you finish a lesson and say, right, next week we're going to continue with this grammar or vocabulary on this topic. We'll get deeper and deeper. And then the next week, none of those students are there and you've got somebody else and you have to start again from the beginning.
Yeah, I can see that would inhibit continuity. So are you worried then that because of some illnesses, the courses are going to finish?
I am a little bit concerned, but that isn't the topic I want to raise with you, Em.
Oh.
The topic is, what do you do when you're ill? Do you still teach?
Depends how ill I am.
Give us a gradient.
How, like...
Are you barfing?
Barfing? Like vomiting?
Yeah.
During a lesson?
I mean, is that the line that you draw? If I can't keep my food down, I'm going to have to cancel. Because you're an online teacher, so you're not able to pass on viruses.
No, which is a great thing that you can be a little bit under the weather and still get paid. I tend to think if I need to stay in bed, if I feel like I just haven't got the energy to teach, then I should take the day off.
Well, let me check. I've got a short list of ailments that may affect your decision and your teaching ability. Let's start with you stubbed your toe. Are you still able to teach?
When did I stub my toe?
2 minutes before the lesson started.
Oh, I'd probably just start the lesson with a grimace and say, I've just stubbed my toe.
Oh, how would you explain a stubbed toe?
I would explain that I walked into a chair or something and my foot hurts. My toes hurt. Probably soldier on with that injury, yeah.
Okay. What about a broken arm?
I don't think that would be a problem. I mean, the broken arm would be treated and in a cast, I guess, so it wouldn't be an immediate problem.
Can you still type?
I would adjust accordingly, do a conversation lesson or something like that.
I think the students would be compassionate.
Yeah.
How about if you had tummy ache?
See, that I would probably, depending on the severity of it, cancel because that might be a distraction, constant distraction.
But do you not find as soon as you switch on the computer or you open the door to the students and they all come in, that suddenly all that pain just disappears?
Sometimes that does happen. The anaesthetic of lesson time. But I think with stomach problems, I just wouldn't want to risk it. With headaches, that's different.
Tell me.
Well, that can disappear and then I'm okay. Stomach, no, I wouldn't want to risk it, to be honest.
But with a headache, maybe you could take something, but you're still not guaranteed it's going to fade away. It could get worse while you're staring at the screen or you're listening to the chattering voices of your angelic students.
That's true. And then you'd have to just call it time and say, sorry, everyone, I've got to go and lie down.
Have you ever done that?
No, luckily I haven't.
That's good. I think on reflection, I haven't had to cancel too many lessons because of illness, and I've soldiered on as well, even if I've had a bit of a tummy ache or a headache, back pain.
It's definitely a lot easier online. You can cover up a bit more. I think when you're there in the flesh, it's harder. On the topic of illness, Gav, would you ever ask your students after they've been ill and they've come back, like, what did you have? Why were you ill? What were you off for?
No, I generally don't. I don't talk about any of these things because I think it might be personal.
You wouldn't even acknowledge it. You wouldn't even say, do you feel better now? Or sorry you weren't there last week.
I might say it's great to see you again.
Right.
And I'd say to the other students, what did the student miss in the previous lessons?
Yeah, but not focusing on the reason why they were off or
No,
anything.
probably not. Do you?
I tend to say, are you feeling better now? And then that's a sort of, they're able to volunteer the
That's a
information.
cue, isn't it?
If they want to, or they don't have to, and it's sort of a way out if they want to just say, yeah, I feel fine, thank you. But when there's been a student off for months, I feel like it's a bit of an elephant in the room if you don't say, you've been off for a long time. I wouldn't want to get all the details. I think that is prying a little bit, but I think sometimes it's worthy of acknowledgement.
I think only in the vaguest terms. I wouldn't want to make the student feel uncomfortable because it is quite personal.
Yeah.
So, as you said, just give them the opportunity to talk about it. But yeah, many times I haven't asked my students after weeks of them being away and then being told that they're in rehabilitation. But no, I would feel really uncomfortable asking them why they were off. Em, should we take a break?
Sure, all this teaching and learning is making me tired.
I'll put the kettle on.
Followers, if you enjoy watching the show on YouTube, listening to the podcast or reading the transcription, show your support by visiting ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/howtoenglishpod.
And get us a coffee to show your appreciation.
Links in our show notes.
On the topic of asking prying questions, Em, one of my students told me that he had a rather large item delivered the other day, and that was why he was 15 minutes late for his lesson.
Well, I'm dying to ask, what was it that you had delivered?
Eventually, I asked myself. I didn't ask myself. I asked that question myself.
Oh, in a kind of, I wonder what you had delivered style.
Well, there were two students, and then one of them finished early. And then when I had this student on their own, I said, do you want to tell me what that thing was?
I think they did want to tell you because they mentioned it. I say that's a green light to ask as many questions as you want. So what was it?
They said they didn't want to tell me.
Oh, you're joking. Really? That's weird. So that was literally just an excuse for being late. Awkward.
And that was the end of it. I didn't ask any more questions.
Well, that just makes me really curious now. I've got another what would Gav do question.
Oh, good.
Every time there's something that I think, what would Gav do? I've got a class that I have on a weekly basis. I've had them for, I think, 3 years now. Last week, I had a new student arrive and they hadn't informed me, and nobody had informed me. The student hadn't informed me. My company hadn't informed me. So a new student just turned up. Gav, what would you do?
I would say, welcome to the class. How are you? What's your name? Do you know any of the other students in this class? Could you please introduce yourself? And then I would get all of the other students to introduce themselves, and I would try to remember to introduce myself as well.
Well, that's exactly what I did. But at the back of my mind, I was thinking, is this student even supposed to be here? Maybe they've got the wrong information. Maybe the reason I haven't been informed is because they're supposed to be in somebody else's class, or maybe they've just got wind of English and decided to join on their own volition.
I like the idea of getting wind of English.
Get a wind of English and decide to join, which has happened to me in the past. People have just wandered in. And
I think it's a great idea. Everybody's welcome.
Well, that's kind of how I feel about it. Like, the more the merrier is my philosophy.
I can see the challenge there.
Yeah. It all went fine. The lesson was nice. I was on a slightly more alert mode, let's say, because there was somebody new and I was feeling a bit like, oh, okay, now I've got to really up my game and make it like a
demo lesson.
Good lesson.
Because you want them to come back again if they are supposed to be in that class.
Yeah, exactly. And it turned out they were supposed to be in that class, so it was all good. It all worked out in the end.
It sounds good. And were the other students happy with this new student?
Yes, they all knew each other anyway, so it was all fine from their side. They just sort of thought, oh, okay, it's another person we know. But for me, it was a bit, oh, okay, this is shaking things up a little bit.
Keeps you on your toes, but that's good for a teacher to have some surprises from time to time.
I agree, Gav. I agree. You don't want to get all comfortable.
That's very true. On the topic of being comfortable, Em.
No, it doesn't have to be so like that. Yes, Gav?
We might want to talk about pyjamas.
Might we?
I was listening to a story my student was telling me, and he explained how he was looking to recruit a new member of his team. So he did some online interviews with some people, and an incident occurred.
Okay.
And I thought it might be worth mentioning in the pod because it kind of fits very well with our online teaching these days. Now.
Incident sounds serious.
Well, let me continue. Everything started fine.
In the interview.
Between my student and this person. And at some point, the interviewee received a telephone call and said to my student, hold on a second, I just need to take a call. And they stood up. Now, how did I start this conversation?
Well, I'm guessing it's pyjamas time.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the person wasn't wearing pyjamas.
What were they wearing?
A pair of underpants. And unfortunately, when they stood up, the camera was exactly in line with what my student referred to as a bulge.
Your student knew the word bulge.
I know, it's cool, isn't it?
You've got really red now. Well, that is awkward.
What would Em do?
What would Em do? Em would definitely look away, and I would probably get up myself, to be honest, and then pretend I hadn't seen anything. And then make sure the person's come back and is well seated until I came back and said, sorry, I didn't see you leave.
So you would have to just keep glancing back at the bulge until it disappears?
No, I would go to the corner of a room and look out between my fingers probably and make sure that the person was back to their normal position before I said, sorry, what were we talking about? I had something somebody came to the door and I had to go and talk to them for the last 10 minutes and I haven't seen anything.
I like that.
Should I ask you what you would do first and then we'll find out what your student
I think
did?
I would do something similar, probably just pretend to take a call, turn my head sideways. I'm not sure that the interviewee was actually aware of the fact that the bulge was directly in front of the camera, therefore was projected onto my student's screen.
Well, I'd like to think that was the case because otherwise there's I suppose, a criminal element to this, which is creepy. What did the student do?
Basically what you said, just kind of look away, go and do something else and come back after a few minutes and say, oh, sorry, I had to do something.
And by the way, you haven't got the job. I don't know, maybe that's not grounds for not hiring someone.
I'm not sure. Well, then that's the question. I guess
the real question.
Pyjamas is minimum. Underpants not appropriate. Yeah. Preferably jogging bottoms.
But maybe that is discrimination. That doesn't in any way tell you how well that person can do the job. It just tells you that the size of their bulge.
What if you employ someone and they're making calls to your clients?
Well, there you have it. That's the reason.
Right.
That's not what you want in a professional situation. I would say if you have an employee that's doing that, you'd have to give them some disciplinary pep talks. But to be honest, I wouldn't want to hire that person. Minimum jogging bottoms. Yeah. That just came out of, how was your week?
All right. Yeah, just another
How's your day
interesting
going?
Story. Yeah.
I wonder if they Googled bulge before the lesson, so they had it ready for you. I've had to take a step back and look at my materials this week, Gav, because I have been using, I think I mentioned I've got a finance class and I've been using a book and the book is good, but the quality of the book is rubbish.
Oh, no.
And
When you say quality, what do you mean?
well, it's a scan and the scan hasn't really got the resolution it needs. So some of the E's look like C's, for example, which makes reading and doing exercises in it a little bit difficult. So I have had to take a long, hard look and think, actually, that's not acceptable and it's not good enough for my students.
Have you had any complaints from the students?
Yeah, not directly. They've said things like, is there any new books available? Or maybe there's a
New edition?
yeah, or maybe there's a new edition we could use.
So what have you decided to do, Em?
I have got some new books.
Excellent.
Yeah, I've bitten the bullet and I've decided to just invest in a few good resources that look professional and are pleasant on the eye.
I think that's a big step for a teacher because we do really get used to our materials and we love using the same thing over and over again so that we know it from back to front.
Yeah.
And there's no surprises. We know what's going to go wrong. We know what's going to go right. But you're plunging yourself deep into a pot of mystery with some new books.
Exciting and scary at the same time, but I think it's the right choice because, yeah, it's just nice to have a very good copy and the students can see it clearly.
Well, you'll have to let us know how you get on with these new materials.
I will.
Before we get to our quiz of the week, I want to raise another teaching and learning moment that occurred in my week with my students, where one of the students said to me, my colleague speaks France, Italy and Spanish.
Oh, they got Spanish right.
And I said, that's wonderful. That's a lot of languages, but let me just check a few things. Now, what was my issue here, Em?
I would say the language, not the country we need. So not France, but French.
We're looking for some adjectives,
Yes.
not nouns.
Yes.
So can you explain, Em, why do we say a Greek but not an English? That was the expression I had, and I thought to myself...
No!
Because suddenly my students were just naming all of these nationalities. Sometimes they were adjectives, sometimes they were nouns, sometimes they were both. And I thought, oh no, I don't know. I can't remember.
An American person, an English. You can't say, you can say an American, but not an English.
This is Teaching 101. We've got to go back to basics, haven't we?
Is there a rule, Gav?
Not that I could find, but I'm just going to mention a few nationalities, possibly adjectives, to describe those people from those countries, and you can tell me whether they sound right to you, or you need to add person
Right.
to these.
Is this the quiz, Gav?
No, this is the pre-quiz quiz.
The pre-quiz quiz.
And we haven't done the jingle yet. Of course it hasn't started.
More quizzes. Great.
A Japanese.
That doesn't sound good. A Japanese person.
A Brazilian.
That's okay.
A Haitian.
I think so, yeah?
A French.
No, a French person.
A Nigerian.
That's good.
An Italian.
Fine.
A Czech.
Fine.
An Irish.
No. An Irish person.
A Chinese.
No. A Chinese person.
A Jordanian.
Sounds good.
It sounds good to me too. Ergo, it's a bit random, isn't it?
Yeah, but is there a pattern with the ending with an en at the end?
This is
Like
going to have to be my
American,
homework. That is a very good question.
Asian? No, it doesn't work. I know there's rules for when it's a group of people, like the French, but then if you don't say the, you just say French people. I know there's rules with that, but as for individuals, I don't know, Gav. Maybe it's one of those things you just have to memorise.
I think that might be the case. So instead of doing that, we're going to do
Quiz of the Week.
I have a multiple choice quiz where you need to name the nationality of each of these people. Shall we do this in the format of an exam so that our followers can then use this recording with their students?
Ooh, nice idea, Gav.
And maybe we could have a little ticking sound between the question and the answer. Hopefully you give the right answer.
Let's hope.
Number 1. Tom is from Berlin. His nationality is A. Germany, B. German, C. Dutch.
The correct answer is B. German.
Correct. Number 2. David is from New York. His nationality is A. English, B. American, C. Canadian.
The answer is B. American.
Very good. Number 3. Keiko is from Tokyo. Her nationality is A. Chinese, B. Korean, C. Japanese.
The answer is C. Japanese.
Good. Number 4. Sarah is from London. Her nationality is A. British, B. Irish, or C. Scottish.
The answer is A. British.
Good. Number 5. Nicole is from Paris. Her nationality is A. France, B. French, C. English.
The answer is B. French.
Good. Number 6. Carlos is from Madrid. His nationality is A. French, B. Italian, C. Spanish.
The answer is C. Spanish.
Very good. Number 7. Donald is from Geneva. His nationality is A. Switzerland, B. Austrian, C. Swiss.
The answer is C. Swiss.
Very good. Number 8. Kathy is from Sydney. Her nationality is A. British, B. Australian, C. Austrian.
The answer is B. Australian.
Great. Number 9. Anna is from St. Petersburg. Her nationality is A. France, B. French, C. Russian.
The answer is C. Russian.
Very good. Number 10. Diwa is from Jakarta. His nationality is A. Japanese, B. Indonesian, C. Indian.
The answer is B. Indonesian.
Em, congratulations. You got 10 out of 10.
Thank you, Gav.
And I hope the followers and their students also got 10 out of 10, just like Em, because that is fabulous.
Nice little quiz, that.
Fun, wasn't it? So thank you to a4esl.org for their lovely quiz. You can do it yourself, go online, or as I said, try Gav and Em's version because it's nice.
So that just leaves me to say thank you very much, Gav, for podding with me. As always, a pleasure.
It was lots and lots of fun. It was so nice to catch up with you, Em, and hear all about your week and to share a little of my week too.
Yeah, I'm enjoying these chats.
So I'll speak to you again next time and we'll catch up again.
Looking forward to it, Gav.
Bye for now.